Hello everyone, welcome to my June free Facebook Live virtual card class for qualifying orders placed with me in the month of May 2026. I am so glad that you are here with me today. I am doing fantastic and I hope that you are too. Our weather is beautiful. We have had so much humidity and rain, but today it is sunshine and the humidity has dropped and we're only going to be in the 70s. Just a gorgeous day here in Middle Tennessee. It is Monday, June 15th, and I am happy to be with you. My name is Maureen Rolfes, also known as the Crazy Stamping Lady. I have been an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 29 years, and I love what I do. If you're hopping on, please say hi and let me know that you are here. If you're watching on the replay, same thing. I am coming to you from Murfreesboro, Tennessee in the United States. This class is a special thank you to my customers who placed a qualifying order with me last month. But everyone is welcome to join us and see the cute projects we make and take away what you want from that. So I love it when you join us. If you ordered from me last month and you did qualify with at least a $50 purchase, and didn't get your kit for some reason, please let me know that. You should have received it in plenty of time. I mailed them out really early. So yeah, just let me know if you think there was a mistake and I will certainly double check that. This video will remain here in the video media section of my Crazy Stamping Lady page. Hi Donna, hi Gloria, glad you guys are here for at least 30 days and then Facebook gets rid of it, but I will try to also upload it to my YouTube channel, so you can always go out there and check it out if you want to. Also, please feel free to share this video. That really helps my small business out. I appreciate if you do that. Hi, Karen, glad you're here. Again, like I said, it's open for anyone to watch, so feel free to share me. I so much appreciate that. Okay, let's get right down to our table and get going on today's class. There's my sunshine. Look how beautiful. Down to the table. This is me, Maureen Rolfes, the Crazy Stamping Lady. My blog is crazystampinglady.blogspot.com. My email is crazystampinglady@gmail.com. My Facebook is facebook.com/crazystampinglady. My YouTube is under my name, Maureen Rolfes, or at the Crazy Stamping Lady. And you can shop with me at stampingwithmaureen.stampinup.net. And if you shop with me, you will be shopping through the Stampin' Up! Website and you will be eligible to earn rewards. Every online order placed on the website of $20 or more automatically receives 10% back in rewards to use on a future purchase. The rewards are redeemable for up to 1 year, and you can get your account with me at stampingwithmaureen.stampinup.net. And when you do that, be sure to opt into both the rewards and the demonstrator contact so that both Stampin' Up! And I can give you back the things that you earn or are eligible for. That is important. All right, guys, we're just going to move on real quick and get to our class. Just a reminder that this class is a thank you for purchasing. So if you place a qualifying purchase with me in the month of June, you will be eligible to get the kit for the July class. To earn the free online class kit, just place a $50 order with me and you will get a 3-card packet kit. $75 will get you a 3-card packet kit plus a bonus project. $100 will get you a 3-card packet kit, the bonus project, and a half a pack of an embellishment. Any smaller orders still receive a handmade card from me. All of the orders are entered into my monthly prize drawing. And just a note that you only get 1 kit per person. So if you place more than 1 order, your kit will just be at the highest qualifying level. And the kits do contain retired products. So just be aware of that. But you can certainly duplicate them with new things that we have. And if you have questions on that and ever want my advice, let me know and I'll help you try to duplicate. The July class for the kits that are earned in June will be on Monday, July 13th, 10:30 a.m. right here. So mark your calendar. Okay, guys, we're just going to get right into it and get through it. So if you got the kits, you're going to have these and you can make them with me or you can come back and watch later and make them after. If you didn't get the kit, just enjoy the video and maybe you'll make something like it. So the first card in the kit is this, Old Friends Are the Best Friends. Now, I cannot do any stamping for you. So you're going to get a little sentiment piece, and you can put on any sentiment that you like on that piece. The only things I did not include in the kit are adhesives. You have to have your own, and tools like scissors and snips. And then I cannot do stamping, although I included all the pieces that you can stamp on. So this is the first card that we're making. I also stamped the envelope with that little saying. The saying I am using, Old Friends Are the Best Friends, comes from the Sweet Words and Labels set. This is available in the United States only because it is part of the Winnie the Pooh Silly Old Bear collection, and that has copyright restrictions on it in other countries right now. So it's only here, but you can find whatever sentiment you like to go on there. It could say happy birthday, thinking of you, just about anything with this design. But the sentiment I'm using is from the Silly Old Bear Suite, and it is the Sweet Words and Labels stamp set. Also, the piece that is embossed in your kit, I embossed with the Retired Beautiful Pattern embossing folder. It's a 3D folder, and it gives you that really delicate little embossing on there. So you can a lot of times find our Retired products through like eBay and other sales on Facebook for stuff if you really fall in love with something. But usually you can just find something similar and duplicate it, and that's the easiest way. And then the gems that I gave you, these green gems in your kit, come from the Muted Palette Dots, which are also retired, but we always have new and beautiful gems, so you can just replace them. And my tip is always just have a pack of rhinestone basic jewels handy, and you can put those on almost any card, and they're going to look beautiful. Okay, so that card I'm going to set right here. We're going to take out the pieces. This is what you're going to get in your card kit. Oh, and I did want to note, your envelopes this time and maybe for a couple months are going to be retired Stampin' Up! Envelopes. These are ones that we sold years ago. I found a whole box of them. I didn't even know how many in there. 200 maybe? A ton of them when I was trying to organize and clean. And they are retired, but they're wonderful envelopes. And so this is what you may have received in your kit and might for the foreseeable future. So you have a basic white envelope. You're going to have a Garden Green A2 base, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You also have a piece of Garden Green that is 2 1/4 by 5 inches. You have a piece of Garden Green that is 1/2 by 2 inches. Now, I will post the picture of the projects with their recipe in the comments of this video at some point today. So just realize that that will be there. Also, you're going to have a piece in your kit of DSP that is 2 by 5 inches. You're going to have 3 of those green gems, a basic white piece that is 1/2 inch by 2 inches, a cute little gorgeous grape retired ribbon bow, and then you're going to have a white piece for the inside of your card, and that is 4 by 5 1/4, and then an embossed white piece for the outside that is 4 by 5 1/4. So all of those pieces should be in your kit. If you're missing anything, make sure you open up your envelope, stick your hand in, dump it out, because a lot of times the little pieces and the gems and things get stuck inside of there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put my inside piece, which is the non-embossed white piece, on the inside of my card. And I'm not going to stamp anything on it. It is just there, and you can decorate it and do what you want with that. Add anything that you want to it. Let's get that kind of centered in there. Now, the reason I made this inset big, because normally I make mine a little smaller, is I wanted the 2 pieces to be the same size. It was just less confusing for me as I was cutting. So a lot of times if my front layer is a white layer and I'm putting white inside, I'll just cut them the same to make it easier. I can get all the cutting done at once. So it does vary depending upon my card what size that layer might be on the inside of your card. I'm also going to take the embossed piece and add it to the front of my card. Now this is a 3D embossing folder, and I usually go all the way around the edge because it can curve up your cardstock when it goes through the machine. But for some reason, this one is so delicate that it really does not do that. So I just went in the corners. We're going to center that onto the front of your card, just like that. And then what we're going to do is take these two pieces and put them onto our card on a diagonal, just a little bit of a diagonal. So the easiest way I think that you can do that is to take your piece of designer series paper. Now this designer series paper, I'm trying to remember what it was called. I knew at the time when I did this, a Favored Flowers designer series paper. And it was beautiful. I loved that it had a black background on so many of the sheets. I got a ton of it. It might even have been a free during Celebration. I can't remember that for sure, but I know I fell in love with it right away. And I'm just going to put this onto my green layer. They're the same length, leaving a little border on top and bottom like that. And then look at your flowers. They don't have a true right or wrong, but kind of turn them. Like on mine, I can see they look better this way. It seems more natural. I think because this one is so distinctly going that direction. So that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to add this to our card front. Now, I'm just going to take my seal and go the entire length of the long sides, the top and bottom, the way I'm having it sit here, okay? Make sure that my flower is going the right way. And then you're going to place this so that the top edge of this is slightly off of the edge of your card, and it's about 1/4 inch down on the white, and you can angle it then until the bottom edge is just a little bit off of your card. You want to be sure that when you trim this, the part that's on the card completely covers side to side. So on each side, it should be sticking off just a little bit so that it's completely on there. I hope that makes sense to you. And then I'm just going to take my snips. You can take whatever scissors works for you and cut off the excess along the edge of the card base. And it's a little thicker than usual because we're cutting through 2 layers. Usually when we trim, we're cutting through 1. Just like that on that side. It looks like I didn't get up close. I'm going to go back and trim a little more. I see. I'm going to open it up. I think that'll be easier because it is green against green, and that's a little difficult to see sometimes. There. Now I think I got it pretty darn close. And then we're going to come over here on the other side and do the same thing. And just take your time with this, guys. If you don't want to do it while I'm doing the video, save it and do this all after while you can take your time. There we go. That just gives you that nice little angled look. So again, those were 5 inches long, which for a 4 1/4 inch wide allowed me to have that angle. You probably don't want to go any shorter than that or you won't get much of an angle on it. Okay? Then we're going to take our 2 pieces, our green and our white, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment, old friends are the best friends, onto this little piece of basic white using Gorgeous Grape ink. And that was just picked because that's a coordinating color with the designer series paper. Such a cute little sentiment to just say hello to an old friend that maybe you haven't talked to in a while and that we know that you're thinking of them. I think it is great. And then I'm going to add this to my green, offsetting it so that the green cardstock shows on the bottom and the right-hand side. So I'm just going to come with some seal down my white and then come and offset that. So I have a pretty even amount of the green showing at the bottom and to the right. That can be as much or as little as you like. Okay, just like that. This is then going to be added to the front of the card not popped up at all, just added down here in this corner, like that. You're going to take your bow that I pre-tied for you, and yes, I do pre-tie bows whenever I can. Sometimes the product doesn't allow that, the project that we're making. You have to do it, but on this one I did pre-tie it. So just go ahead and push a glue dot on the back of the knot of your bow. And make sure none of the glue dot is hanging over. This is kind of a organza type ribbon, I think, kind of light and airy. So you just want to push any glue dot back up above the knot so it's not showing. And then I'm going to place this over in the corner of my sentiment, just like that, so it is framing it with the tails of the bow. Pretty stinking cute. And then we're going to use our 3 dots. You might have gotten 2 large and a small, or you might have gotten 2 small and a large. Whatever you have, you're going to place one of each at the top. So I'm going to place my large one, because I have 2 of those, but it doesn't really matter, my large one and my small one up at the top here, just like that. And then whatever other one you got, just place that down here somewhere on your card so that you form your little triangle. And then stamp your envelope, of course. I can do that later. I'm not going to do it here because I already showed you it on this one. And that is it, guys. That is card number 1 in your kit. Super simple design, easy to recreate with whatever you might have on hand if you want to make more of those. And I'm just going to move this and my notes for that out of the way. Then we're going to go to card 2. So my card 2 I made into a sympathy card. Yours obviously does not have to be sympathy. It can be anything you want. It would make a great masculine birthday card, I think. A retirement card, a just thinking of you card. Super simple, super beautiful. Products used on this card were some current products. So I used papers from the Beautiful Gallery. This is an all-time favorite designer series paper of mine. This definitely is my second packet, and I combined them and put them together what I have left, so it's pretty full, but I've gone through like one full one, and this is my second one. They're just gorgeous, guys, and it is still current, so you can still order it if you love it as much as I do. And then the bow on here is also still available, but it is on the last chance list for only $4.75. It is the basic beige ribbon, and I love it. Actually, I think I might have used a retired one, but I'm still going to point this out because it would be the same. I love this ribbon. The basic beige is light enough that you can color it with your blends, other colors, either that or a white, and I always like to have that on hand. But mainly, I love this right now, especially because it is on sale $4.75 on the last chance list. So just be aware of that. It'll be there till they're gone. It looks like I did use a different one on yours. I used one with a border. I must have used up the spool because I no longer have it here. And it was a retired one, but it is the same color, the basic beige. So I think that's all the extra product, except you'll notice on your layer of green, and actually let me just dump out the layers and we can see everything that's in this kit. You're going to have a very vanilla A2 base, same size, same scoring as our first one, another envelope, a layer of crumb cake that is 4 by 5 1/4, a layer of very vanilla that is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4, a layer of designer series paper that is 2 inches by 4 1/2. So I wonder if one of those is wrong. 1 1/4. Oh yeah, I just gave you the wrong measurements. That's okay. They'll be printed out. I just gave you the wrong measurement on one, but they will be printed out. You can see which layers I'm talking about. A small layer of very vanilla that is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. That's the measurement I gave you for that one. And then a piece of Mossy Meadow. Now this piece started out at 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. And then I flagged the end of it. And the way I did that is I used our retired Heartfelt hexagon punch. Several of you have seen me do this before. I just fed the end of this into the punch and then punched it, and you get this really nice kind of rounded flagged end on there. I will probably hang on to this punch forever. I like it for a lot of things, but I love it for flagging the ends of my larger pieces like that. So it is retired, but I'm sure you can probably find one out there if you want it. They're usually available. And then your little bow that I pre-tied for you again. So super simple to put this card together. Mostly we're just gluing. I'm going to use my seal again on the corners of my crumb cake piece and add that to the front of our very vanilla base. Since you saw me turn that over, because it's silly to turn it over, right, if it's just a base, but when I fold my bases, sometimes one of the edges is just a hair longer than the other edge, so it shows when the card base is closed. Rather than worrying about refolding it, I just flip it over and do the front, then it doesn't show, and when you open it up, you never know that that was like a hair shorter. So when you see me flip my card bases, that's usually why I'm doing it, because I go with the side where that doesn't show, where the front side is the longer one. Okay, so we're just going to put that in the middle of our card. We're going to take our beautiful piece of this scenery. Now I cut a piece in 3 different sections to make these. So it's all part of the same scene, but yours might vary a little bit. Like this one has the taller little blossoms on, this one all has shorter. I can't remember what the third one was, but they're all going to give you the same look on your card. So I'm going to come in here. Oh, I just ran out of seal in that one, but I have a backup all ready to go here. So this one I just loaded this morning, so this one is not going to run out. We're just going to add some seal to the back of the Designer Series paper and then layer that on to the very vanilla layer, like that. And then put seal on the back of there. And we're going to add that to the front of our card so that I have an even border of crumb cake on the top, the bottom, and the left side. That's kind of how I layered it on there. So it's over to the left on your card base. Then we're going to stamp our sentiment. So the sentiment I'm using is "So sorry for your loss." It is from the current, I don't want to knock things down here, the current Prayers and Promises set, which I love so, so much, especially everything about this "So sorry for your loss." I love the font on it. I love how clean and pure it is. It's just gorgeous. So we're using that sentiment on here today. Again, make your card whatever you want it to be, but I always need sympathy cards more than ever as I get older. So I'm going to ink this up with Mossy Meadow ink. And I did notice the other day that my Mossy Meadow is in need of being re-inked, so hopefully I have enough on here. I'm going to center that on here. Just like that. And I would also add that to the envelope like I did here. I will do that eventually. Put this out of the way. And then we're going to add this sentiment layer to the green layer, to the Mossy Meadow layer. And I am going to move it so, let me show you, so that it is more to the right end. So I'm leaving just a little bit of border there, kind of the same amount of border between where that inner peak is, where that curve is, so that it's about even with the top and bottom that I'm leaving on here as I center it. And that leaves me room for my bow down here. So that's the reasoning behind that. And then we're going to use some dimensionals on this piece. And I want it to stand up, so I'm going to put a decent amount on here. I don't want it squishing down too much on the card. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Hope it's as beautiful where you are as it is here for us. Okay, then I'm going to come in here and place this. Now you may want to move this up or down a little bit depending upon what your background scene is. I'm just going to put it up just a hair from the bottom because I want those kind of beigey flowers to show up above. but I do want a little of that picture showing below. So that's how I found my placement. I'm going all the way over to the right-hand side with my peaks, and that allows the beautiful scene to show around the edge. And then we're going to do the same thing with your little bow. Just grab your glue dots, add a glue dot to the back of the knot, and then I am putting this bow on its side because I don't want it to cover up too much of my picture. So that's why I left that little bit of green on there. We can just pop it right on there like that. And that is our second card, guys. There they are. So simple and easy and beautiful. And the perfect, as far as I'm concerned, sympathy cards. So card number 2, done. And I will again post the recipe and the card picture at some point today in the comments. Okay, we're going to go on to card number 3. Now, card number 3 is just a little bit of a fun fold, so that's kind of fun. A couple things about what I used on here. I used, for this embossing on this little piece of white here, the Retired Damask Designs embossing folder. Again, a favorite of mine. Now, when I use this, I turned it this way because I wanted my design to be going up and down. You would decide that on your card, of course, how you wanted it. But I love it. I love those really delicate embossing folders for cards like this, where I don't want it overtaking the rest of the visual image of the card, but I wanted to add just a little bit. So we're using that. And then my Just Because sentiment on here comes from the new set in the new catalog that came out in May. It's called Playful Packaging, and it's just a bunch of fun little images that you could add to packages when you're giving little gifts. So it has a Just Because, a gift for you, a thank you, a to and a from, tons of little designs, and I like it. So we're using that, and it's only $18 for the set, so that was kind of cool that it was. It also comes with a set of dies that will make like a little gift box also, if you like that, so you could get that. Okay, let's set this to the side and go through what's in our kit. In your kit here, you're going to have your white envelope again. I think I got everything out of there. It looks like it. You are going to have a base. So this base started out the same size. It's 5.5 by 8.5. But instead of scoring it in half, I scored it along the long side at 1 1/4 inches and then at 5.5 inches. And I hope that is right. Let me lay it down and just verify that. Sometimes those measurements mix me up. Yep, 1 1/4 and 5.5. And that gives you like this fold that you could use vertically this way. You could turn it around and use it vertically this way. We're going to actually do it horizontally, although you could switch yours to vertical if that's what you want to do. It's going to be a horizontal card with the bigger flap at the top, the smaller one at the bottom. Also in your packet, you're going to have a piece of basic white for the inside. That is 3.5 by 5 inches. That's my normal inside layer. You are going to have a piece of basic white that is 1 by 5 1/4 and that I embossed. You're going to have a piece of basic white that is 1/2 by 2 inches for your sentiment. Also a piece of Night of Navy that is 11/16. Is that what it was? Let me see when I do it again. Nope, that wasn't it. What color, what was this one? Night of Navy, Night of Navy, 2 3/16. I think I have the wrong measurement here. I'm going to have to fix that before we go on. It was just a little bit bigger than our white piece. So when I post the recipe later, I'll have a corrected measurement on that because I can't remember exactly what it was. But we're going to use those for our sentiment. You have a 2-inch punched circle out of Night of Navy. You're going to have a piece of Designer Series paper, and this was from the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper, which was so colorful and beautiful. You can see on the back what the designs were. Just lovely, lovely paper. You're going to have a piece of that is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. You're going to have 2 fussy cut flowers. Now your flowers can vary by color and flower, but 2 fussy cut flowers and 2 fussy cut leaves of some sort. And then 3 little sequins. They could be flower sequins, they could be round sequins. I used up a pack of sequins I had. They're just kind of clear and iridescent. And it's different depending upon what kit you got. So that's what you're gonna get. So everything's in there. First thing we're gonna do is just take our inside piece of basic white and put it on the inside of our card. Now, like I said, this 3.5 by 5 inches is my normal piece that I put on the inside of my card, because you can get 5 of them out of a sheet of basic white cardstock rather than just 4 if you use the template I've shown before. And if you need that template, let me know and I'll show you how I've cut them. It leaves you a little bit longer border on 2 sides and shorter on the others, but I think it looks wonderful. So that's the inside of our card. Next, you're going to take your piece that I embossed, and this is going to get added to that bottom flap, just centered on there. So I'm just going to add some seal to this, and then I'm going to center it onto this layer right here at the bottom, side to side, top to bottom, getting it as close as I can and not worrying too much more about it than that. Now, again, I made my design go this way, but even if you decided to go with a vertical card on this, the design looks beautiful that way too, so it doesn't matter. Then you're going to take your flower layer, and again, you have a layer of this same flower paper, although the flowers on yours could vary a little bit by color. And this has a beautiful Night of Navy background on it, so it works perfect with this paper. And we're going to center that piece onto the top fold. So you're going to want to make sure your flowers are going the right direction when you lay that on there. The nice thing about it is it's not super specific, so if you had to turn it this way, your flowers would again still look beautiful if that's the preferred way that you go with. Okay, then I think I'm going to do my sentiment right away. So I'm going to bring out my Just Because and my Night of Navy ink, and I am going to stamp that onto the center of this little piece of basic white, just like that. And I will also add it to my envelope, and in here I repeated it because it was such a simple sentiment. I repeated it several times on there. I will do that later. And I do very little stamping on these cards because I can't stamp for you, so I want to make them so you can bring them together and only have to add the sentiments usually. Once in a while there's something else, but very rarely. I'm going to come in here and just add this white layer to my blue layer. Trying to center it when it's tiny and I'm on camera and I'm not right over it. Sometimes it's difficult. I should have grabbed my little tweezers. That always helps. There we go. So we got it. And then I am going to pop this up on a couple dimensionals. So let me add those to the bottom. Now when I place this on my card, I'm going to place it down in this bottom section. But again, if you wanted your card to go vertical, you could place it like this, coming off of this side without that second dimensional and coming over onto your white or completely on your flowers, however you want that to be. So you have options if you want your card to go the other way. But I'm going to place mine down in this corner, kind of leaving an even border, top, bottom, and side on the white. Not worried about being perfect, just an idea of what I want to have. And then we're going to add our circle to the top flap only. So I want this circle to overlap both sides like this, okay? So when I put my adhesive on it, I only want it on the portion that's going to be in this top section. So I'm just going to lay it right on there so I can see exactly where that ends when I have it placed the way I want it, add my adhesive, and then because it's a circle, I can just flip it over and add it to my card. So now when this opens up, There's no adhesive. Actually, I was off a little bit, so just be kind of careful about that. But if you have an adhesive remover, that little bit's not going to matter at all. I'm going to use that and remove it, and now I have no adhesive on there. But just be careful when you flip it over that no adhesive is sticking down where it might hit this flap. You only want it on that top section of the flap. And then we're going to decorate that. So to decorate it, I took my largest flower and I added it to the circle only. So same thing. What I'm going to do is just put some Tombow glue up kind of along this edge, just like that. Not worried about it completely filling in because I'm not exactly sure where this will land on there. So then I'm going to bring this in and cover that Tombow glue. And the part sticking off isn't glued down, but it does not matter at all, okay? So there is that flower on there. I'm going to add my little leaf to this one. So I'm going to take one of my leaves on this one. I think I'm taking my larger one. I'm going to kind of curve up the end of the leaves. You can use your fingers to do that. You could use a bone folder to do that, just to give it a little dimension. And then I'm going to add some Tombow glue to the back of that at the very base, just on the stem down here. You don't need a lot of Tombow, which is delightful when you're making things like this. And I'm going to tuck it under this flower because I didn't go to the very edge with the Tombow. So I can come in here now and just tuck that under and glue it down. So now I have leaves up there on the top of my flower. Then we're going to take our smaller flower, and on this one I'm going to add some Tombow glue, again to the front of the little leaves here, but just at the very bottom. And you could glue however you do. If this isn't the way you glue things down, do it your own way. You just want this look. And I'm going to place that coming off the edge of my smaller flower, just like that. Now these leaves are pretty small. You could curve them if you wanted. There's not a lot to curve there. And then we're going to place this flower also onto that circle only, but I'm going to place this one with dimensionals. So when I set this here, I can see that this petal here is going to be hanging off. So I don't want any dimensionals on that petal. They're hanging off of the blue circle. I'm just going to place my dimensionals next to each other over here so that that bottom petal doesn't have any on. And then I'm going to come in here and place this where I want it. Just like that. So now we have that cute little floral image, and then when you open it up, it opens with the top flap, and your Just Because opens with the bottom, just like that. And then you do have 3 gems. Like I said, they could be flowers on here. I don't know if you can see. On here they were flat little flower ones. On here they were round sequins. When I don't have enough of one kind for all the kits, I just put something similar so you can get the same type of look. I'm going to place one of those sequins right over here between my flowers, and the other ones up here onto my card. Excuse me. Forming a little circle. No, I'm not. I'm forming a little triangle with them. I think I'll do that one right there. So now they're in a triangle image, which is always visually appealing. You cannot see them real well on the blue until you move them in the light. And then they just add that gorgeous little glimmer. So that is card number 3. Give me a second to take a sip of my coffee because I feel my voice going. Oh, coffee always makes me so happy. Okay, so that is our card. That is card number 3. Again, I'll show you how I did the envelope on there. I just repeated kind of off and on that Just Because that looks kind of cute when it comes in the mail. And that was card number 3 from today. So if you placed a $50 order last month that qualified, you would have gotten the kits for all 3 of these cards and can make them now. So yay to that, and thank you. Then if you placed a $75 qualifying order, you're also going to get the bonus project kit. But if not, I'll show you how I make it, and you can still try to duplicate it with what you might have on hand. So This bonus project kit is a little gift bag. I've made several different kinds of gift bags over the years. And usually they're either cardstock or designer series paper, but this one combines both. So the base of the bag is cardstock, but the sides are a coordinating designer series paper. And it's pretty large. Like this one would hold a whole box of glue dots in there, or a ton of candy, or a little jewelry box with some jewelry in. It's a nice size when it's finished. In fact, let me measure real quick. It ends up being 4.5 by approximately 4 inches, and the gusseted side at its widest is 2 inches. So it is a decent size. Now you can always adjust these sizes and make it smaller or larger. I will post a picture of the pattern also. This is the pattern right here. It gives the measurements for the cardstock section and how to score it. And then it gives the measurements for the designer series paper sides so that you can also know how to score that. So yeah, kind of cool. So I will have that posted in the comments also for you to see. So let's make this. In your kit, if you received it, you are going to have the base piece of cardstock. So this is a piece that is 4 inches wide by 11 inches long. It was scored along the long side at 4.5 and 6.5. And then I added the holes already for you, just using a regular office hole paper punch so that we can put the ribbon in later. I do want to show you how I do that when I do it. This is a scribbled piece of scrap paper. There's numbers on it. There's writing. I don't even know what it was from. But when I'm going to repeat holes like this on one pattern after another, I make a little template. So for this template, I cut a piece of white paper that was as wide as my cardstock. And then when I punched my first one, I punched the holes where I want them. And I put arrows so that I know this is the top of the template. So then when I go to punch them on the other side or on the next one, I can just lay that on there again, knowing that the arrows are telling me which is top and bottom, and punch right through those holes so that they're all even. I don't usually keep these. When I do another project, I just make another one. But it is a great tip if you're doing several of something like that and you want them to all be even. Or in this case, I wanted both sides to be even when it folded together. So there's a good tip for you to take back with you from this class. Okay, also in your kit, you're going to have 2 pieces of designer series paper. These were 3 inches by 5 inches. I scored them at a 1/2 inch on both sides and the bottom, not the top, just both sides and the bottom. And then I cut out angles where it's going to fold together. So on the diagram here, it's going to show you exactly which angles I cut out so that it folds together for my box, just like that, okay? So there's 2 pieces of those. You're going to have a piece of shaded spruce cardstock that was cut out with the 2 3/8 inch circle, a coordinating piece of the designer series paper, and this designer series paper came from the retired Perennial Lavender DSP, which I know a ton of you got, so you probably have some. This circle was a 2-inch circle. So this is going to layer onto our 2 3/8 inch when we put our box together. You have a piece of basic white for your sentiment. Basic white, and it's 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then a piece of retired ribbon. This was green ribbon. I had no markings on it. It was rolled up in a pack. I know it was Stampin' Up! Because I remember it. I think it might have came with other ribbons. You know how sometimes we have ribbon packs of 2 or 3 together? This one wasn't labeled individually, so I don't know what it was. But I gave you about 16 inches of it, which should be plenty long for you to tie your bow on your box when you need it. And I'll give you some tips when we get to that point. And then also in your kit are 3 gems. These 3 gems come from the Retired Purple Find Shimmer Gems, which also I know a ton of you got because they matched the paper so well. So that is what's in your kit if you got this. To put this together is actually very simple at this point now that the prep has been done. What you're going to want to do is take your Designer Series paper sections, and I use Tombow glue for this because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I am going to put on the side that I want showing. So I want this showing on the side of my box. Now, depending upon what's on the back of yours, because I had to use a couple different patterns, you could maybe use the other one on this back. So whatever you want showing, whichever side, which for me is this one, I'm going to add some Tombow glue on that side to this flap. Okay, just that bottom flap. Let me get my Tombow glue holder over here so I can keep that primed. And then we're going to take that and I'm going to lay it right along the edge of that center section so that my fold is right at the edge like that, and it's centered between those pieces. I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. So I want this side showing. On the bottom flap, I'm going to come and just add some Tombow. And come over here and we're going to have again the same thing. It's going to come right up to the edge, and I'm kind of feeling where that edge is with my finger. I want that score line to be right at the edge and then the flap on there. So now these are going to be your sides that fold up. The easiest way I found at this point is I flipped it over, and on the 2 top side pieces, I'm going to add my Tombow glue, just a squiggly line, doesn't matter, it's going to hold. And then flip it back, but don't lay it down on your table because you're going to get glue on your table. And I'm going to come in here and just push it up along the side of my box. Again, so that the edge is right at the edge. Same thing on this one. Fold that little flap in and come up here inside and lay it so that is right at the edge. Just like that. And then once you get that in place, I'm going to use my bone folder and just go along on that and make sure I have some good pressure and that it's adhering well. And then on the other side, we're going to take our Tombow glue now and just put it onto these 2 flaps. And I love little boxes like this. If you're going to give a little treat to someone or a little gift for their birthday or have a favor at a party. Whoops, there went my Tombow. I love to have these, and they're so easy to make. And like I said with that template, you can adjust it. You could make this larger or smaller just by increasing your measurements. So we're going to come in here, and I'm going to pull the sides so that they meet. Pull the side over here so that it meets. And once I get that, I'm going to flip it over and then take my bone folder one more time and go inside of there so that it adheres. And so basically what we've made is just a little box type image, but it has these cute little sides on it that coordinate and are different than the box. Next, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So for my sentiment on here, you know what? I'm not going to stamp my sentiment. Maybe I will. I forgot to pull it out. I set it aside somewhere and I don't know where I put it. So on here, I'll just show you. On this one, I'll have to add that later. I put thank you. This thank you was from what set? It was from the Lovely Arrangements set. And I forgot to pull that out, but that's okay. And it was using the Shaded Spruce ink. Yes, all of that is true. So I'm just not going to stamp my sentiment. But what I did do is on the ends of it, I flagged the ends. Now, if you had that punch, that heartfelt hexagon, you could do that. But it's going to be a very tiny little flagged end on it. So I actually cut these out. If you're not comfortable with that, just let your sentiment go all the way across just like that. You don't have to flag the ends of it. So that is up to you. But if you decide to, stamp your sentiment, and then once it is stamped so you know how far you can go in, you're just going to go in a little bit on the end in the center, and then go up from each corner and create that little flagged end on your strip, and repeat it on the other end. Super simple. Sorry I forgot to get that out, but I think you all get the picture from this, how it's going to go. So I'm going to scoot that apart. But I am going to add this piece to it. So I'm going to take right now my seal. And again, you can use possibly either side on your paper, depending upon what's on the back. But I want the lavender side with the flowers to show. And you might have a different pattern. I use several different scrap patterns, especially when I'm reusing retired product. I try to use up what I have left in those packages, so you might get different ones depending upon how many kits I had to make for that month. Okay, so that is that layer. So now the next thing you want to do, we've given this a few seconds to dry, we're actually going to push in the two sides. So just gently at the top, push in your two sides and bring your front and back together. Okay, just like that. Now if yours is hanging over a little bit with the Designer Series paper, I see mine was a little bit longer, and you don't want that to show, just go ahead and take your snips, and you can snip off the excess like that. I'm going to flip it around and see if I have any. I have a little over here too. It's hard to get them exact when you're human, but I do my best. Okay, you can just snip those off, and then you don't have that excess at the top. Once you've pinched it in like that, now you can add your ribbon. I'm going to tell you, you probably do not want to add your ribbon at this point if you're at home. The reason being, this ribbon does fray pretty easily, so I made it come to a point so that it's easy for you to feed through. But I would wait and just roll it up and put it inside the box and not feed it through or tie it until I'm ready to give my gift. But all you're going to do is take that pointy end, punch it through to the other side and grab it. And then you're going to come from the back and punch it through to the front side and grab it. And then I'm going to show you the end and what I mean by how it frays. I want to make sure these two ends are pretty even, which they seem to be. So you can see how frayed this is. Once you do that and tie it, that fraying is there, and then you can trim that off. But if you put it on now and then you have to undo it and then feed it again, you're going to have to trim it off again. So I hope that makes sense why I wouldn't do it. I'm showing you for mine. But all you're going to do then is just tie it into a bow at the top here to close it. Come through a little ribbon. And then I just make sure that my ribbon is laying how I want it. I play with it. A lot of people don't like to tie bows and they get frustrated by them. For me, I don't, because if you play with your bow long enough, like right now that's not showing well, so I'm going to put my scissors in there and kind of fold it out. If you play with it and manipulate it, you can usually get your bows to lay just beautifully. I'm not going to mess with this one too much because I am going to probably have to feed this through again when I give it as a gift, so I'm going to leave it. But you can see on here how after I got it on there, I just trimmed my ends just like that. And then once your box is like this and your bow is in place, that's when I added this. Now this box dips in a little bit in the center just by the nature of those gussets on the side. So when I added my circle, I made sure I had it go directionally the way I wanted it, flipped it over, and put my two dimensionals one on top of the other, or one above the other, and none to the sides. That way I can put it on the front of my box in that little section that goes down, center it where I want it, push on it and leave it there. And now it's adhered, but even if this box gets expanded with something or contracted a little bit with something, the edges aren't glued down so that the circle can move with it. And then again, you would just do your little sentiment piece, and that would just be added right on top of your circle, saying whatever you wanted to say. Happy birthday, thinking of you, thank you, love you, whatever you want. And then you do have 3 gems. Again, probably 2 of one size, 1 of the other. So whenever I do that, I always put the 2 sizes with the largest and the smallest on one side, like that. And then whatever you have left, either the larger or smaller, down on the other side to form my triangle on there. So that's our cute little gift. Bring the projects out as I'm talking here. If you enjoyed today's class, just be sure to place your qualifying order from me in the month of June so that you can get the class for July. Boy, I have to think that through sometimes. My brain just goes mush. Let me grab the cards we made too so that you have those. So here was card number 3 and card number 2 and card number 1. There was the 3 cards and the bonus project that we made. And like I said, I really hope you like these. I had a lot of fun making them for you. If you get a qualifying kit for your monthly purchases this month, they will be different projects, but this gives you an idea of how they will be when you get them. I am planning on being in here tomorrow morning at 10:30 for my regular Tuesday coffee and a card, so I hope you'll join me then. As always, I would love to be your creative coach and demonstrator. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me in the comments of this video or by email at crazystampinglady@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all soon. Bye.